guys, we have some special guests here at the tavern today. Today we have Jalen Braden and Trayvon Jordan, who make up the hot, energetic tag team known as Waves and Curls. Guys, how are you guys doing today?
Great day, man. How are you guys?
And we're just excited to have you guys on.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
We're excited to be here. For those who don't know, the voice that you're hearing right now is the voice of Trayvon Jordan, the taller half of Waves and Curls.
Hey, man, nothing wrong with being short.
So what's been going on with you guys during these crazy pandemic times? How are you keeping yourself busy?
You want to go first, Jay?
Oh, you got it.
All right, cool. So me and myself, it's just been a time for like self-reflection, constantly going to wrestling training, just brushing up the skills, making sure we're ready for when we get back into the ring on a more consistent basis, talking to family every day, calling up the mom, calling up my little brother, my sisters, just making sure everybody's good, trying to stay healthy, enjoying time with my girlfriend, just relaxing, and also got back into reading. So your boy's been getting his knowledge and his mind right. So quarantine's been pretty good to me.
That seems like a healthy stint.
Oh yeah,
because
you gotta stay healthy. You gotta train the mind. And you gotta eat good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to do the best to stay active and stay up.
Man, you're like the complete opposite of me. Well, obviously, my main thing was getting healthy first from my arm fracture. But other than that, I've been home. I got the PS5 a couple weeks ago, man. I ain't left my room in like 3 weeks.
What's your game? What are you gaming on?
Right now, I'm playing a lot of Madden. I'm more like I usually play a lot of sports games.
You play online? You play online, or do you do the franchise mode?
I do everything on Madden. I play Ultimate Team. I do franchise. But yeah, it was crazy is like I never watched football before. Like I didn't like. I couldn't name you like 5 football players. That's about it. And then like this year, this Madden just got me like I can name so many more football players. Like I became game. I'm hip now. I'm hip to this Madden stuff.
I've lost so many hours of my life to Madden. It's sad.
See, fantasy football did the same for me. Like I was always kind of a casual fan. Then fantasy football made me just a hardcore fan.
Same thing. I started fantasy football this year, and like when I drafted, I had 2 teams. My first team I drafted, I didn't know anybody, so I just like drafted random people, and then all of a sudden now it's crazy.
So you'd mentioned, Trayvon, about like continuing your training and everything. The pandemic's putting a damper on the indie scene right now. We all know that, but is there anything you do like outside of the training to kind of continue your growth as a wrestler?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing anyone who's, training to become a wrestler or actually actively being a wrestler is just to consume content all the time. So my biggest inspiration for, how I portray myself in the ring, it actually doesn't come from wrestling at all. I just watch a bunch of old Martin Lawrence tapes from the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like I watch Martin like every week just so I can study this man because the dude's crazy. And that's
one of the best shows. That was
Martin was amazing.
Yeah,
it's like top 5 shows of all time. So I watch religiously, getting it like character moments from that because you want to bring something larger than life into wrestling. You got to take from something larger than life. And Martin and him and Pam and Gina, like that's the ultimate character work ever.
Yeah. All the characters he would play too, like the cop. The old cop he would play. I love those characters.
Yep, the karate guy, Dragonfly Jones. Like you guys might see me come out in Dragonfly Jones gear one day. Like that's how diehard of a Martin fan I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
I remember growing up and watching that as a kid, and I think it came on the same night as Living Single. So I would watch both Queen Latifah and Living Single, and
the throwback 90s shows are all the best. That Fresh Prince. I just started watching Sister again. And that show is hilarious. Like me and my girl sat on the couch just dying laughing. I didn't know it was that funny.
Man, it's been a long time since I watched Sister.
Go back and watch it. You'll be on the floor crying. I kid you not. Yeah.
Who was it? It was Tia and Tamara, right?
T and Tamara.
Yeah.
T is the one with the mode. T is the one without the mode.
Yeah.
If I said it wrong, those listening, don't come and kill me on
I love their dad on the show too. He was always funny.
Oh yeah, good dude.
Oh, Jalen, what about you? Are you doing anything outside? I know you're rehabbing an injury. How'd that injury happen? Like what happened with that?
Oh man, honestly, I didn't even know what had happened at the moment. So somebody who we rode down to the show with, he had recorded it and sent it to me afterwards, and I got to like see like what actually happened. It was kind of weird. Like it's pretty much I just did like a basic drop kick, and I do drop kicks all the time. You guys, Trey, that's one of my go-to moves. If I don't know what I'm doing a drop kick. And then pretty much we just like collided when we landed, and he ended up landing on my arm, and it just like snapped in half. It was pretty gross.
Oh,
That was crazy.
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's that seasoning though, man. I feel like every young wrestler, you take those bumps and those bruises, and I like you even hear the story of Chris Jericho where he broke his arm in Smoky Mountain Wrestling and continued wrestling. It's craziness. Wrestling, it happens, man. It's part of the job, I guess.
Yeah. But for me, what I mostly like watch a lot of wrestling. Like right now, I've been watching every single Royal Rumble like in order because I was bored out of my mind. And there's a lot of like Trey can tell you I'm not really the guy that watches a lot of wrestling, like old school wrestling and stuff like that. Like they will tell me stuff and I'm like, I don't know who that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not at all. If it's before 2012, he don't know who it is.
No, 2000.
Like our recurring joke when we're in the
2007.
car is that he's like every former champion. So Jalen Brand is a former NWA champion. He's a former WCW like international champion. All these accolades. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, I just started watching like some of the old stuff and like it's actually amazing like how much wrestling has developed and how much is still the same. Like it's not much different, but it's very different at the same time. It's kind of confusing, but it's pretty cool watching some of the older people and like what people took from them and stuff like that and what they made their own type of thing.
Yeah, it's crazy when you see those matches too, those old school matches that kind of are like ahead of the curve and they blow you away. It's like, damn, I can't believe they were doing this back then. Like the match that instantly comes to mind to me is, I don't know if you guys, you probably have seen it, the Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Halloween Havoc match. That match, wow. I mean, that was like high flying before high flying, you know?
You could put that match on any card in 2021 and it's still the match of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, easily.
It would kill it.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing I noticed too, going back and watching some old stuff, and this has really nothing to do with wrestling, but it's so interesting watching crowds because everybody's watching the event. Nobody has a phone out. There's no phones out. Everybody's focused on what's going on. And that just, now you see the lights, and it's just interesting to see that.
Yeah.
And the arenas are like packed too. Like
they're packed and everybody's enjoying it too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's crazy.
So where did your guys' early fandom start? Like who were your guys growing up that you liked? Like when you first started watching wrestling, who were those guys that you're like, man, that dude does it?
John Cena.
That
was an easy one.
Yeah, John Cena. And John Cena and Jeff Hardy, they're like coming up at the same. Like Jeff Hardy was just having his main event run, and Cena was kind of established as the main event guy. But those are my two go-to guys. And then like for my low-key guy, it was Shane Helms. Like there was nothing Shane Helms could do that was wrong. Like I just loved the guy. Ever since he came back in like 2009, I think it was. I was in the arena for that SmackDown. It was like 2009 or something, and like the whole arena was silent. But I was fucking losing my mind. Like he did the hurricane pose, like he did the one fist in the air, and I did it with him. Like I jumped on the fucking railing and I did the shit. Like I was invested in Shane Helms. So Shane Helms, if you ever listen to me, I love you dearly. Right?
That's awesome. Now, like, when did it happen for you guys? As far as like, when did it stop? When was being a fan not enough and you guys were like, you know what, I think I want to do this?
You can go first.
I go first. Dang, tag me in, brother. So For me, it was after I graduated college. So I went to Johnson & Wales, Providence, Rhode Island, got my 4-year degree, and did the traditional route, but I still wasn't, happy. I didn't find that self-actualization just yet. Right. And the only thing that I'd ever loved, more than anything was always wrestling. It was always in the back of my mind, but you're always told, go to school, get your degree, do it the right way, do the right path, instead of thinking, what's my path, or asking myself that. So post-graduation, it was about 2 months out, got out of a bad relationship, XYZ. And I was like, you know what? Let me do something that I've always wanted to do to better myself, to pursue the dream and the goal that I've always had. So I took a bet on myself. I found the Kingdom Wrestling School in West Warwick, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And the moment that solidified it, that I knew I was on the right path, it was like my second or third training. And I was walking towards the garage. You know how we got the garage at the school, the garage door that's open? Mm-hmm. I was walking to the door and I was chewing gum. And I always did the Mr. Perfect gum spit and smack, but no one ever got it. So I'm walking towards the door and Taven's in the ring facing the garage door. And I do the gum smack. And he's like, oh, Mr. Perfect today, are we? And I was like, you know what? I'm home. Yeah. I'm home. So that's awesome. That solidified it for me.
Yeah, I always let you go first in this question because mine is boring. But mine is kind of similar. But I didn't finish college. I was only in my first year. And growing up, I was always I always played a sport for my school. So when I was in college, it was a little different. I went to D1 school. I went to Eastern Kentucky University, and they were very big, like a big school. So it was harder for me to play sports for them, obviously, because I'm a smaller person, and everybody there's like huge, right? All the athletes. So I spend most of my time in my dorm, and I always I still would watch wrestling all the time. So there, I really got to binge watch a lot of wrestling, and then I feel like that's when it clicked with me, and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing nothing here. I was going for general ed. I didn't even know what I wanted to study. So at that point, I was like, I'm going to go back home and I'm going to settle down. I'm going to go to community college. And then it just clicked with me. I was like, you know what? Why don't I try professional wrestling? Because I always loved it. My dad always loved it. And it's something I feel like I could do because I was such an athlete at the time. And I always I just love sports. So I tried it out and I ran with the ball ever since.
That's odd. It always fascinates me how people get in, when do you make that decision? Because, wrestling isn't easy. That's a big, big task to not only hey, I'm going to try this out, but stick with it. It's impressive to me.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah. No, that's a definite, that first time taking a bump or the first time hitting a ropes, it hits you fast, Yeah. That pain settles in, and then before you're even healed, you got to go to the next training, which is a day after. So it takes real serious commitment. So anyone who ever takes the dive into the squared circle will always have my respect, because it takes a lot to get into the business. It takes a lot that you demand from your body, your time. So how can you not respect something like that?
We ask everybody this: what's worse, you're taking your first bump or hitting your first rope?
I think, honestly, I don't know if it's our ring. I would say the ropes, because our ropes are like cables and they're very hard. So the first time I hit it, just whipped me, and I'm a smaller person, obviously. So I felt the pain in the ropes.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
I think everybody said ropes.
Ropes are worse than bumps. Yeah. Almost everybody says that.
Yeah. But then after a while, the bumps definitely get worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when you're a smaller guy in the tag team. I would take those bumps. He's taking all the bumps. You know what I'm saying? What? What's that? Oh yeah, Jalen can do that. Oh yeah, of course. But for me, it was hitting my second rope, because the first time when I hit the rope, it didn't register. I was like, oh, what's that? Second time, I was already bruised up. I was like, all right, fuck this. Let's do something else. I'll take another bump.
So you guys train under Matt. You mentioned Matt Taven. What's one thing that you've learned from him that stuck with you?
You want to go first?
Yeah, because this one, I started a little before Trey, and Matt would always always dig this into our heads, and especially me, because at the time I was very like, I mean, I was still a little shy at times, and I'm not as talkative as Trey and like certain people. So when it would come to like promos and stuff, he would always tell us people remember moments more than they remember moves and all that other stuff. So like always make sure that when you're in a moment, make sure you soak it in, make sure you make the most of it, because that's what makes you the most money. So like he always like preaches moments and how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you talk, and all that stuff. So he always like he helped me out a lot because I was in the shell for a while, and he really helped me like break out of that shell. So that's definitely one of my things I remember.
That's awesome.
Most
Trayvon?
definitely. For me, the lessons that always stick out with Taven is he would always drill into us respect. Anyone who's come before you, anyone, who you show up to at the show, respect everyone, help out, give a helping hand. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, is to put on a great show for everybody. So be respectful when you walk into the building. Always give respect, but also, have that presence about you that you're such a respectable individual that you'll get that same respect in return. To always walk in confidence, to be a confident person, but also, give respect when it's needed. So that was always the one thing that just stood with me, is to always be respectful, always be courteous, and always give a helping hand, because that's how you build rapport with people. That's how you get opportunities. If you're respectful, if you're helping out, people will notice these things. Don't just go to a show and just sit on your laurels and pray that you get on the cards. No, absolutely not. You love wrestling, so why not help make this experience great for everybody at the end of the night? So whenever we go to a show, that's what we do. We're the first people there. We help set up the ring. We're the last people there taking out all the trash, because we love everything about this business, from laying down every single foundation, putting down the little squares so the turnbuckles don't ruin the ground, and picking up all the chairs. We're there because we love it, not just performing, but every aspect. So he taught us to just be in love with every part of the game. So we are.
Yeah, and I think that passion, man, that makes the days and years of paying your dues not seem so bad.
Right.
I mean, like having that love for it, it's just it pays off. And it sounds like I've heard nothing but great things about Matt Taven and the training, and hearing you guys talk about those two pieces of advice. I mean, you can't get much better than that.
No, we love Pops, man. We call him Pops. He's the OG. He trained us and taught us up in our ways. So it's always respect and love for Pops. He's number one, man.
That's awesome. Now, at this point in your young careers, how important is it to kind of have that freedom to find your characters on the indies? To have the freedom to kind of like play around and try things out, and how important is that freedom to you?
It's definitely it's helped me a lot, because Trey can tell you, like, before we figured out like what we're gonna do with this tag team, when we were just like two different solo people. We didn't have that much time as solo people. We had like a month or two.
I was about to say like a month and a half.
But like beforehand, like while I was training, because I didn't have my first match probably for like a good like 8 months, maybe to a year. So all that time was just like solo stuff that I had in my mind, and I didn't know what I wanted to do as a character. I didn't know what I couldn't cut a promo. I couldn't like do anything. And then once I actually started getting in the ring, and then once me and Trey started tagging, I was like, okay, so now I got something to flow with. Now we can try this, we can try that. We text like every day about different ideas, gear, entrance music, everything. Like we just try out so many stuff, and it's great because we can see something and we can like put it into our own, and then try to express it as our own, instead of like just stealing something from there. You know what I mean? Right. But yeah, man, it's great to have like that platform to just try stuff out, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, don't do it again.
Right.
Now, I've seen some of your guys' promo photos, and you have like a great look as a tag team. Like, you just look like a tag team. And I
You
love
heard that, listeners. We're handsome. You heard that? All right, listeners.
Yeah. But like, you know, you see some tag teams and their gear is kind of, you know, like, but you guys have great gear. And I guess, like, how do you guys collaborate on the look of your ring gear? Does someone kind of have the better eye for the style? Like, how do you guys, how did you come up with your gear and just the look of the team?
So
It's crazy because we like
I'll-
it's kind of a combo, honestly.
it is kind of a combo. I'll admit though, I'm the more like outlandish of the two, and he always has to rein me back in with everything. I'm like, because that's how we were taught. You know, Taven would always say he'd go as far out as possible, and if you have to be reined in, we'll rein you back in. So I was like, all right, shit, I'll cast the reel as far as I can. I want bedazzled glitter, everything.
Yeah.
And then Jay, he'll always go, nah, we can't do that. We're not gonna do that. All right, so meet me halfway. Let's compromise and do something else. But the biggest thing for the gear was our other trainer before he went and cut our main trainer's head off with an axe. Marcelia. Yeah, before Uncle cut Pop's head off, he always, you know, told us that you want to be larger than life. You want to be something like, if there's an action figure on the shelf, the kid's going to want to point to yours first. So for us, it's vibrant colors, it's atmosphere. We want to look like action figures every time that we step out. We want to radiate that energy every single time that we step out. So we reflect it in everything that we do, whether it be the Whitney Houston, because everybody want to dance when that comes on, whether it be the party popper because it explodes and it's larger than life, or just the gear, the pink and the blue and everything. It just stands out. We want to catch everyone's eye and attention from that moment, because the first 5 seconds of your entrance, I believe, are the most important part, because that's when someone first sees you and they first invest in you as a person or as a character or whatever. If you don't have them by then, you probably won't have them at that emotional high later on. You can build that, but it's going to be a whole lot harder.
Yeah,
so we try to make our job. Exactly. First impressions last forever. So we try to make that first impression as perfect as possible. So for the gear, we hooked up with Gimmicks 247. She designed the gear for us. We were like, listen, we want vibrant colors. We want it popping. I wanted the glitter. He didn't want the glitter. I didn't get the glitter. Which is okay. I'm okay with compromising to keep him happy. But we just try anything and everything. We'll stick anything to a wall. And if it works, it does. If it doesn't, we're not gonna talk about it.
No spoilers, but we have some new gear coming out.
Oh shit!
It's even crazier, I think.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do they call that? There's a term, toyetic.
Toyetic.
Yeah.
Making stuff look toyetic.
I like that. I've never heard that, but I'm gonna use that every single day I can.
Yeah.
I like that word.
That's it. You know, they say people like, you know, Jungle Boy and Jungle Express and tag teams like that, they're very toyetic. And when kids see, you know, Luchasaurus's figure in the store, when they, you know, those are going to be things that they gravitate towards, and they call it toyetic. So that's looking toyetic is definitely a big thing.
Nah, most definitely.
And who would have thought that Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody" would be such an energetic song to come out to?
Banger. A banger.
Pure fire. I mean, the story behind that is just amazing too. Because I was like, it was like a week or two before my debut match. I didn't have like a song planned or anything. I was freaking out about it. And I just went home. Whenever I like freak out about something, I go home and visit mom. Because, you know, mom could always set the soul right and everything. So she's like, don't worry about it, baby. You'll figure it out, blah, blah, blah. So we're just sitting there watching TV for the night. And like some Amazon ad comes on. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's like moving lips. And then there's like a break in the commercial. And it just starts singing Whitney Houston. And I was like, that's it. I knew I came home to mom for a reason. And ever since that day, nothing but nonstop Whitney. So huge love and respect for Whitney. You know, rest in peace, God rest her soul. But that song, just every single time, it's that emotional connection. I always think about that moment on the couch with my mom before every entrance, because that literally, you know, carries me forth. And then the entrance headband, like if you notice in the promo pictures, I'm wearing a headband around me. Yeah. That's actually like a tie from one of her dresses that I stole from her, so I can carry her with me to the ring. So that's awesome. A little personal tidbit on that too. So But the Whitney song, man, keeping that as long as I can. If I get a contract, we're writing that in the contract. I'll take a production. I don't care. I need more Whitney.
I don't think Tony Khan has any problem buying songs.
Yeah, he's been buying rights to songs lately.
He has been. I don't know. I'm about to knock on Tony's door. Tony, what's going on, man?
I think that should happen.
Yeah, man. What talking about, current wrestling product is, what do you guys like? What's the current product today that you consume as far as wrestling?
For me, it's mostly NXT and AEW. I love watching those two programs. The last thing I saw that really, really caught my attention, though, was, of course, Wrestle Kingdom just happened a few days ago. Reading up on that, I heard the match with Jay White. First of all, let me just say that name. Jay White is amazing. I love everything that he does. It's just
he had like a 48-minute match,
dude.
It was almost an hour.
48 minutes, and it was a good 48 minutes. Just back and forth, just emotion and story building. But Jay White's great. But the last thing before that I watched was the Walter versus Elliott match. Phenomenal, hard hitting. I mean, them chops look like they're painful. I don't know if I want any of that action.
I love Walter. Walter's so good.
Oh, Walter's amazing. If we ever face off on Walter, Jalen can take whatever chop you want. Like, he's really good at taking chops. But dude, NXT UK is just such a solid program, and I wish there were more eyes on it, because those matches they're having over there are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, Tyler Bate. I mean, they have so many that British strong style. I mean, it's so underrepresented in the States.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
I would say I watch pretty much the same thing. I mean, I just watch most WWE and then AEW. Occasionally I do tune into like AEW Dark when I see like someone who we've been in the ring with or we've met, just like, to see them on TV. And then occasionally I do watch Impact or some of their pay-per-views. I gotta watch my homie Chris Bay.
He's killing it.
Yeah, man, he's doing great things, man. And then I did watch the GCW for the culture,
the collective.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we watched
most of their stuff. I watched that, man. That was just like amazing. Like, to me, just seeing all those people, represent like our culture and stuff like that was just great. It was a lovely show.
GCW is so important to indie wrestling right now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're doing a lot of great stuff, and it was good to see them put a show on like that during a time where indie wrestling was kind of suffering. There wasn't a lot of shows, and to give a lot of indie wrestlers that moment to shine during all of this stuff was really cool.
Right. They've been super consistent, just having great shows. I know there's a lot of good stuff on IWTV. Shout out IWTV. They've been having
on there.
Oh yeah, we is on this. So go ahead and get your free trial to IWTV today and look up Limitless Wrestling and watch your boys Waves and Curls do their thing on Limitless Wrestling. Shout out Randy Carver. But there's so many great things going on just on that platform alone. So with Camp Leapfrogs doing their thing, GCW. I know there were a whole bunch of other shows on there too. I think Wrestlers Laboratory dropped something today. So, and Limitless Wrestling has been doing amazing with their Road series. So there's just so much content out there that's still going on through the pandemic. So it's good that wrestling is still alive and thriving.
Yeah, it shows how strong the like indie fan base is, because they, even when there wasn't shows, they wanted to support it. They wanted to keep it alive however they could. And, it's a testament to all the talent, all you guys out there killing it for the crowd, that makes that fan base grow even better.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
So what's more important to you guys right now, being innovative and popping a crowd, or having a solid in-ring psychology?
You want to answer that question, A-Rod? You want to answer that question, Jalen?
That's like a tricky question.
Yeah, it is.
I say that not that like there's a wrong answer. I say that because there's the people you want to like invest in you, and the people you want to have a good time is the crowd. So normally you would want a pop, because that means you're giving the crowd what they want. And at the same time, you also don't want to you also don't want to have a bad match. So
Right.
the psychology in the match is always important as well. But if you watch any of Trey and myself's matches, we're all about the pop, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
we gonna wrestle, but you know what I'm saying? We make sure the fans have fun. We make sure the kids have fun. We like to dance and all that stuff. So I think it's mostly about giving the fans a good time and making sure that they remember this show and remember us when they go back home and stuff like that. So
Most
Good
definitely.
answer.
I think the most important thing for me, and it's something I've always wanted, because before wrestling, I did spoken word poetry, did it for like 10 years, loved doing spoken word. And the one thing that I always wanted to do, whether I was, the first poet who was on the stage or the last, what I wanted to do is be memorable. Maya Angelou has a quote: "People won't remember what you say or how you say it, but they'll remember how you made them feel." And that's always resonated with me. And that's always been what I wanted to do with whatever that I do. So when we have matches, I want to build the best experience that people will ever have.
Right.
I want to facilitate energy. I want people to feel connected to Waves and Curls. I want them to feel whenever our music hits that they want to dance. Whenever we're in trouble, I want them to yearn for us to try to get back on top. Whenever we win, I want them to have that jubilation. So yeah, do I want to have a good match? Absolutely, of course, 110%. I'm a wrestler at the end of the day, but I want to build an experience that fans can just gravitate towards and just have a good time and have fun. So that's the most important thing to me whenever I'm, going out there in front of the crowd, is just building a solid experience that everyone can enjoy. So that's always the mentality that we have whenever we go out.
And I think that's both of those things can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you get to a point where you are popping a crowd and it's we pose that question as a this or that, but it's definitely like I want to do both. Like I want to pop the crowd and have a great in-ring psychology.
I think definitely Vinny, I don't know if it's Vinny or Taven because I don't really remember, but they always, I don't know if it's like a combination of both of them, but they always tell us you can be the best like mat wrestler in the world, but some fans might not even care about that. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to people who like do mat wrestling and stuff like that, because some like there's people like Jonathan Gresham who are like amazing and people love him. But if you go to like say if you go to Ring of Honor and you're a mat wrestler and you go against Jonathan Gresham, people are not going to care about you because they already have a Jonathan Gresham. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure people invest in you and like your character and stuff like that. So it's more about like your personality and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of wrestling right now is there's room for all of it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you, like you said, that's what makes you stand out, Now I've heard in interviews you guys have done that someone gave you the name Waves and Curls. Walk us through like how they dubbed you Waves and Curls. Cause it's a memorable tag team name.
Out of all the things in our tag team like that we've come up with, that was the hardest thing that we've worked on, and we couldn't come up with anything. Like,
not a thing.
Because usually we come up with things like that. We're usually like we talk about something like, oh, this, boom, let's do that, boom. But when it came to our tag name, man, we were like 2 deers in the headlight. We didn't know what to use.
Yeah, for real.
And then one day, one of our fellow like trainees, one of our students, not our students, but like one of the students from the kingdom.
I'm about to say, who you?
He was like, "Oh, why don't you guys go with the name Waves and Curls? Because I have waves, he has curls." And we're like, you know what? That's a great idea. Like, we looked at each other. We're like, why couldn't we come up with this? Like, that was so simple. It was like the most simple name, and we just couldn't think of anything at the time. It was crazy.
It's a great name.
I'll be honest, like before I had heard of you guys, I follow Limitless Wrestling on Twitter, our account does, and I saw a post about something about a tag team Waves and Curls, and it was the name. Before I knew anything about you, it was the name that was like, that's a really good name. Let me check these dudes out. And that's where it all started, was from that name, and then the look and everything. I'm like, oh, these guys, this is a cool package.
Thank you,
man. Yeah, shout out to the big.
We can't take credit for it though, but thank you.
I know, right? Shout out Raghu for making that name for us. Him in an Italian accent. How about Waves and Curls? It's like, oh, got to do the Italian finger gestures too. It's perfect.
Last thing I want to ask you guys before we move into our last little segment is, I've noticed like you guys have a very positive presence on social media, you know, and can you talk about how important it is for you to be that positive escape for fans in such a divisive time, and not only like the social media pro wrestling world, but just in the world in general, where everyone, it seems like you turn on the news, it's us versus them, and this just trying to turn everyone against each other. Like, how important is it to be a positive light in such a divisive time in our country?
You can go, bro.
Take it first. For me, you know, love generates love and light generates light. You know, in the darkest hour, we have to at least turn on the light bulb switch, and someone has to start somewhere. So if I can be that one who starts a light and starts a positive conversation, I'm 110% for that. So it's absolutely critical that we put out these positive messages, that we advocate for change, that we advocate for, you know, anything and everything that can move us forward and progress us forward as a people. Because if it doesn't start with me, then maybe no one will speak up. So we have to have the courage to use our platforms that we've been blessed to be given to at least use our voice in some kind of positive way. You know, so many people get their platforms and they don't say much, or they don't say anything. But if I can just say one thing, like, I might not be, Tupac said it best, I might not be the one who can change the world, but I might spark the mind that could change the world. So that's
Great
why
quote.
whatever positive, amazing quote. So that's why whatever positive thought that I have, I always give it out into the world, because at the end of the day, there's always a light. You can always overcome any single struggle, anything that you go through. So anyone listening to this today, if you're going through a bad time, no Waves and Curls loves you. We hope that you know, go bigger and better onto greater things, and that whatever bad days you have, you will overcome them. You will succeed, and you will crush any objective in front of you, because at the end of the day, you can only go up from here, and we'll do just fine together.
That's awesome.
I let you answer this question first, because I know you was gonna have a more deep,
You know me. You know me. Psychology degree, baby. You know.
When it comes to this kind of stuff, I feel like Trey's older than me, so I feel like he has more knowledge than me. And for me, I feel like when it comes to social media, I always, even like before wrestling, I was always like just positive in social media. Like, it was just, I feel like that's how I present myself to other people. I don't want to present myself to other people as like, you know, I don't want to rub people the wrong way. And then when it comes to this wrestling stuff, you never know who is looking at your social media. Like, you never know what people can find. I don't want to say any names, but you can see like some people who are at the top, and social media brought them all the way down.
So true.
So I feel like social media is like a big part of your character as a wrestler. Like, it's representing you on when you're not in the ring, pretty much. So I always try to keep my social media, I try to be myself, but at the same time, I try to keep it professional. And that's probably why I have two different social medias. You know, I keep one for the other stuff, and then, you know, but yeah, man, I always try to keep it professional, I try to stay as Jalen Brandon on my social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to make sure, like, if fans see something, hopefully it's something that they like. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that's a great way to be. I mean, it shows in on your social medias. I see you guys posting things, and it's nice to see positivity, because let's be honest, wrestling Twitter can be a cesspool.
Oh yeah.
Like, so it's nice to see positivity.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we try to remain and stay that positive light, you know. I wish I still had my own separate Twitter. I changed everything over though for name Trayvon Jordan Twitter, but man, I miss just being a part of Black Twitter, not a part of wrestling Twitter. Black Twitter is the best Twitter. I just miss having just black memes on my timeline. Now it's like, oh, spin article, Wrestling Observer. Like, I don't want to see this. I want to see some funny memes, man. That's what
man, I had
for.
too much stuff on my old Twitter, man. I had to separate them. I had that Twitter for like 10 years, man.
All right, guys. So we're going to move So this is our shoot sixer. It's 6 questions that we asked. It's kind of a rapid fire type thing. Your answers don't have to be rapid fire, but you just kind of shoot straight for 6 questions. Kind of have fun with it.
Cool.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first question: who has better dance parties, Rhode Island or Connecticut?
Rhode Island.
Yep.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Providence.
Yes, sir.
Providence, most definitely. Connecticut.
I ain't never been to party
we don't
Connecticut, so I can't answer that.
I've been to a few, and we don't move like they move here in Rhode Island. So nah, man. Providence is it. Rhode Island's it.
All right. So question number 2, the Montreal screw job. Whose side are you taking, Bret Hart or Vince McMahon?
Oof. Oh, you gotta shoot from the hip. Damn.
I'll take Brett's. I'll take Brett's side.
I'll take Brett's side too. I'm with you, Brett.
I like it.
Yep. All right. And so you guys are, the pandemic's over. We're making towns. There are 3 tag teams that you guys can have in a bus with you, making towns with you, alive or dead. What 3 tag teams are you guys traveling with?
Ooh, you want to go first, Jalen?
You go first. I got to think about it.
All right. So my 3 tag, do they have to be like, let's see, 3 tag teams?
Any 3 you guys want. This is fantasy
booking.
Fantasy booking. Who you got in your bus with you?
Perfect. So
just like to work or just to like,
show
to show you guys are making towns. Yep.
Yeah, you get to sit in the bus with them, hear their stories, get advice, party with them, whatever comes with being on the road with some wrestlers.
Perfect. So it would be Rock and Roll Express. Gotta be Rock and Roll Express number 1. Let's see. The Brain Busters. Got out of the Brain Busters there.
Oh yeah.
And then who I picked for my last team? I don't know why. It's super random, but for some reason, Chronic from WCW's in my mind, so they're coming along too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
They're coming along too.
My 3 are probably more recent. Definitely the New Day.
Love New Day.
The Usos. And then I would say definitely the Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah.
Solid group.
Can I bring like one additional fictional team on?
Yeah, why not?
Perfect. I'm gonna bring Raphael and Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles. I just feel like we have a great match.
The best two turtles.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We're having a great match out of those 2 brothers.
I was always a Raphael kid growing up.
I'm a Mikey guy, man. Mikey's just too funny for me. I love that.
I was a Mikey guy. Yeah.
All right. So next question. If you could sit under one learning tree for a year, who would it be? The Usos or the Hardy Boys?
For me, it's the Usos.
I already knew that. Oh, man. Ooh.
While you think about it, I'll tell them why I picked the Usos. How's that?
Okay. You go ahead, Brendan. You tell me.
So, pretty much the Usos, for people who don't know already, I think I've mentioned this in like multiple interviews too. They're the reason why I chose to be a professional wrestler. I saw them and like instantly it came to mind. I was like, wow, that's like something I could do, like something I would do, and like how I would dress, how I would act. This is talking like after the heel turn.
Oh yeah.
So after that, I was like, oh, I want to try this out. So that's why I picked the Usos for everything. Awesome. Damn, man, you still ain't picked?
I think I picked the Usos. Nah, shut up. I think I picked the Usos too, just so I know it'd make your ass so happy. So the
Usos. That's a good tag team partner right there.
Hey, man, that's what we do, man.
Perfect tag team answer, man. All right, so the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania, do you guys think it should have ended?
No.
Okay.
I was mad as hell.
All right. No, should not have.
I completely agree.
What year was that?
When was that? 2014, 2015?
I think 2015. I think it was 2015.
Yeah. Man, I didn't go to school the next day. I was mad.
I was shocked. My face looked like that guy's face that you see in every highlight reel. Like staring. That's what I look like. Okay, last question. Bright colors or tassels? You can only have one for a year. What are you going with in your gear? You got to either have the bright colors or the tassels.
Those bright colors. I can't wrestle with tassels, man. They would get in the way too much. Stop falling off.
I want tassels just because he don't want tassels. So I gave
perfect.
Usos,
Yeah, that's
I
a perfect combo.
I need my tassels. And it's only because we had a gear idea that had tassels on it, and he shot me down super quick. So I was like, you know what? Now I'm getting my fictional tassels. Damn it! I want my tassels.
So they got shot down like the glitter got shot down, huh?
Yeah, they got shot down. He just don't want to, have the extra flamboyant. But I want all that. Give me everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glitter, nobody will want to work us. We get glitter all over.
I can't hear you. Sound like you're underwater. Take your hand off your microphone.
I said if we had glitter on our gear, nobody would want to work us. They get glitter all over them.
That sounds like their problem, brother. I don't know.
So let our listeners know where they can find you guys on social media. If you have a pro wrestling tee shop, like let us know where we can get at you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Trey Keep Dancing, TRAE Keep Dancing. You can find me on Facebook. Just look up Trayvon Jordan, and we got the Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/the Trayvon Jordan. It's in my name because I make better financial decisions. So yeah.
And then everything that you need to know about me it was all in one. Just Jalen Brandon, baby. Jalen, how spell there, and then Brandon BRANDYN.
Awesome,
Twitter,
guys.
Facebook, Instagram, all that. MySpace,
Friendster, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We had a lot of fun.
Thank you, man. Absolutely.
Thank you for having us, man. We had a great time too. Definitely hope to see you guys at a show one day when everything goes back to normal.
Absolutely.
But all love, man. It's been great.
We'll be there to support Waves and Curls.
Yeah,
sure.
We'll be keeping an eye out. I wish nothing but the best for you guys. I think you got a bright future, and I can't wait to see you blow up.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Further success and onward and upward for you guys too, man. Love the podcast. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
We're gonna play you out here.
Do the party popper, Jalen.
Thank you, guys.
I don't know about that.
Thank you for
man.
having us. We appreciate it.